Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brandon Blessing. I'm going to be presenting renewable energy today. Are you concerned about the greenhouse gases that have an effect on the environment? Have you ever thought about any other alternative energy sources? Well, today I'd like to take a look at a few of the other alternative energy sources. First and foremost would be biomass. Secondly would be hydroelectric. Third, and the least expensive, is wind power. And fourth is by solar power. As a student of science and technology, I've always had an interest in renewable energy and how electricity is generated. In further research, I found a few websites to better inform me on the subject, of which most of the information from this presentation comes from the Energy Information Administration website. So there's several renewable resources. The first that I'd like to talk about is biomass. Now, biomass can include wood, crops, garbage, landfill gas, and alcohol fuels. All are means in which they are able to convert into energy. When you think of biomass, biomass is typically thought of as stored energy and matter that is transferred. So by any of these means it can be transferred. The Energy Information Administration reported the biomass fuels provide about 5% of the energy used in the United States in 2013. So that kind of gives you an idea of exactly how much energy biomass is capable to produce. One of the good things about biomass is that while it's growing, it exchanges in CO2 about the same amount that it does. It's relative to the amount that's when you burn biomass that it's being exchanged during photosynthesis. Secondly, and the most widely used resource, is hydroelectric energy. Hydroelectric energy, as you may think, comes from dams, which is one of the ways is by levying water through dams. By doing that, you run water through a turbine, and the turbine turns to send electricity to a generator where it's stored. According to Clint Uma's report, Hydroelectric Energy, about 20% of the world's electricity is currently generated from hydropower, with China, Canada, and Brazil leading in installed capacity, respectively. Hydroelectricity is clean, however, it's also very expensive, and there's a very slow return on its profits. The next type of energy I'd like to discuss is wind power. As you may know, wind power comes from wind blowing through turbines, which then turn a rotor to create electricity, and that electricity is then stored in generators and further on. Nick Danielson, an expert, explained the U.S. can produce more than 10 times its energy needs through wind power, which is one of the fastest growing resources right now. Though it is most affordable, a few concerns of wind turbines are that lasting effects they have on avian species. And these here show two different types of wind turbines. You have horizontal and a vertical axis, are the two different types. So with this, the wind just runs through, turns the turbine, and there you have it, energy stored. And like most commonly used, the horizontal axis, it works just like a propeller. The wind runs through the propeller, spins it, and is then transferred to the generator. The last and most abundant source is solar power, of course. Solar power is basically captured via photovoltaic cells and solar panels, and then transferred to an electrical generator where it can be used. Thiel concluded in a report distributed by the Department of Energy's National Renewable Energy Lab, stating, with today's commercial systems, the solar energy resource in a 100 by 100 mile area of Nevada could supply the United States with all of its electricity. And solar energy is dependent on the sun, which is one of the cons to it, but it's also very expensive. However, it doesn't produce any greenhouse gases. as we've shown here, alternative energy is abundant and is viable to attain. As discussed, a few alternative energy sources were biomass, burning of biomass, or converting it into energy, and also how it is able to convert CO2 as it's being grown. Secondly, we discovered that hydroelectric energy is the most commonly used worldwide. And although it's expensive, it also requires a prolonged investment. Next was the wind power, as we took a look at, is the least expensive, and it's also the fastest growing renewable resource. And finally, the most prominent was solar power, which, with an overabundance of solar energy and the advances in technology, it has the most promise to provide the most amount of electricity for the nation. And to quote the expert Nick Danielson, the world's energy needs could be reduced by 1/3 by 2050 if individuals and corporations work to save energy now. Thank you.